Purple Warriors podcast. I'm your host, Ali Sugars, and thank you for joining us. This podcast is about raising awareness for domestic and family abuse by allowing survivors to share their own journeys to recovery. You will find practical yet powerful information and tools that you can immediately implement into your own journey to recovery. You will also hear information on how you can help someone you suspect may be in a toxic relationship. To support this podcast and get access to amazing bonus content, click Become a Patron for more information. If you have a story to share, reach out to me, Ali F. Sugars, on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. Hosts and guests will often discuss sensitive topics in detail. While this is done with the utmost respect and dignity, this may cause triggers for some listeners. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Purple Warriors podcast. Our guest today is the young Gina Mitchell, and Gina is the CEO and founder of Midlife Coaching for Women. Her mission is for women to be empowered during midlife when the hormonal programming wears off, so that they can live the life that they want. And her motto is "Life begins at midlife," which I personally love, Gina, because that's exactly where I am. So hi, how are you going?
Very well, Ali, and how are you?
I'm wonderful, my darling, wonderful.
Great.
So, Gina, tell us a little about yourself and how you came to work in this area.
Okay, well, I'm basically a coach now. I mean, if you want to sort of like boil it down, I'm a coach. And what I do is I help empower women, or for them to actually see and realize their own power at midlife and beyond, so that they can have the best lives that they want, that they can, and be the best versions of themselves in every capacity. So I guess I'll just start with my coaching, where I came in as a coach, right? Okay, being the oldest of 4 siblings and having very young parents who had no clue in the 1950s how to do anything. They just got married. They just got pregnant and married and young, and they were young. So I guess I became a little bit of the second mother, you know, being the oldest of 4. Even though we were really close in age, it was like boom, 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 and there's twins in there as well. It literally was boom, boom, boom. And I was the oldest. I was always the go-to person for my siblings because I was the oldest. And you know, my parents they did the best they could. Of course they did. It's just that, you know, having 4 kids when you're 20 years old is not probably the best thing to do if you want to remain sane. So I took up that role as second mother. So I guess I feel like I've always been a coach. Ever since then, I have been coaching in one way or another. So then fast forward, 20 years, or not even 20 years, I became a teacher, a school teacher. I studied science at university, when you got an honours degree in biochemistry, was working in a lab for a few years for a pharmaceutical company. And I thought to myself, I'm not really a lab kind of person. I'm an extrovert. I need to be out there. I need people around me. I need to be doing something else. So I then went and studied my Diploma of Education and became a high school science teacher, which I did for 30 years. And I loved it. It was hard work, I must say, and it got harder as time went on as well, with extra compliance and anyway, work creep, I would call it, every year that you got an extra playground duty or something happened. There's other things that you got to do. And so over 30 years, I did see the difference between what I had to do in my first year compared to my last year. So I guess, again, I was a teacher, a coach, right? Now, in between that, you're going to be surprised by this, Ali. In the 1980s, I found aerobics. It was a fad and I loved it. And I went to every class I could, went to the gym, joined up the gym, went to every single class, you know, with the G-strings and the headbands and the wristbands and all that whole 80s, 90s vibe thing with the costumes. And I just loved it. So I loved the music, I loved the movement and all that. So I became a gym instructor, which I did after school. Like, so I'd be, you know, running from school and doing, you know, like a step class and then a circuit class and maybe another step class or something like that before racing home and having to catch up with my schoolwork. So I've always been really high energy and always the coach, always the one up the front, you know, always the one that people would actually, I guess, in a way look up to, starting from when I was a child. So that's sort of like the main part. Towards the end of my teaching career, I started to not feel myself. I just felt really like I wasn't sleeping. That was my big one. I just couldn't sleep. And I tried all of the over-the-counter medications, you know, all of the herbs, all that, and topping that up, of course, with alcohol. And any way I could get to sleep, I would do. And even then, you know, like when you're sort of sleeping with alcohol in your system, it wakes you up anyway and it dehydrates you. So I had all of these other issues as well. And it all came to a head one day. And by this stage, I did know it was menopause. But I didn't know during from the beginning of the journey up until not too far from this point. But it was in 2015, it was in July, it was a cold Sydney morning. And I got out of bed at, 4:45, which I do every morning. And I did my meditations, did my gym, did my exercise, did all these things, did some chores, did that, jumped in the shower, ready to go to school. And I was totally exhausted by this stage. I was just running on nothing. I was running on empty. And I remember and I'd had a really bad day at school the day before. I think the kids were the last period really restless. And I just thought, I can't do my job. I really can't do my job the way that I want to. And I've got naughty boys in the class, naughty boys. There was never any really naughty girls. It was always naughty boys for some reason. And I remember just leaning up against the shower and I just started crying. And I just slid down the wall and I just was in the fetal position in the shower going, I can't go on any longer. I can't do this anymore. I was working, 50 to 60 hour weeks. And maybe I was just being slow because I wasn't really efficient anymore, but because I was exhausted. My brain wasn't working properly, all of that. And I just said, I got out of the shower and I said to Pete, my husband, I said, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. I'm over. So I rang up my boss and then my principal ended up ringing me because he'd asked me 3 years before. We'd had a meeting because I was head of science at the time. We'd had a meeting and at the end of the meeting, he said to me, Gina, are you okay? And I went, no. I just burst into tears in front of him. And I said, but no, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. It's all good. It's okay, John. Thanks for asking, but I'll be fine. Anyway, 3 years later, this happened. And sliding down the shower wall, and I just said, I can't do this anymore. So John rang me and he said to me, Gina, just take all the time that you need. Don't worry about getting paid. Don't worry about anything. We'll look after you. We'll look after it from this end. And he basically kept my job open for 18 months.
That's amazing.
I know. And I really thank him so much. Thank you, John Haney. I love you, John. Such a wonderful, understanding man. And so, that sort of gave me such a sense of relief and certainty that if I ever wanted to go back, that I could in that time. And in the end, I just resigned anyway, because I just knew I could not go back. And that school was a hard school anyway. So that was all. That day was the culmination of everything to do with menopause.
Right.
I hadn't slept properly for 10 years. I didn't sleep, ordinarily anyway, but I also hadn't slept because I'd wake up thinking I'd wet the bed. And in fact, it was one of those night sweats. It was like, what the hell? What the freaking hell's going on here, And I'd wake up and the bed would be wet and I'd have to change everything and go and have a shower and all that. And it's like, oh God. I could handle hot flushes. I could handle all of those things that you hear about menopause, but I couldn't handle all the other stuff. That was the sleeplessness, the depression, the anxiety, all of the stuff that comes along with it, which we don't even know is bloody menopause. There's women who go through it. They don't know that is all part of menopause. I asked my mum. She said, I don't, just my period stopped one day. I know for sure that she went through menopause. She was depressed. She was anxious. She was a bitch at times, right? I know that was menopause. And a lot of women don't relate that to menopause.
I totally agree. And I'm going to say here that for me, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but I'll say it again, that when I was coming into perimenopause, I was going through all the symptoms that you just mentioned. So, the sleepless nights, the hot flushes, the anxiety, the depression. But for me, because I was going through a horrible workplace experience,
right.
It was all similar or the same symptoms to anxiety. So I had the situation where the health professionals were telling me I was too young for perimenopause, but the mental health professionals were telling me that it's not anxiety, it's your age.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
it's very,
It's so true.
no one tells you that. You're right.
This had all started happening, before I left school, long before I left school, but around about 2010 it was. I knew that I needed to do something for myself. And look, I've been on this personal development journey for 30 years, but I hadn't done anything recently. I hadn't at that stage. And I knew that I needed something. So I reached out and I found these wonderful courses of, I didn't even do it for anybody else but for myself. I didn't think I'm going to be a coach. I didn't think that at all. I just think, okay, I need something more. I need to grow. I need to change. There's something happening in me where I know that what I'm doing now is not enough. It's not sustainable. I cannot continue as a full-time teacher and be like this. I can't do this anymore. So, I just have to work on myself. So that's where I came from. So I found this wonderful group, Your Future Now, and I still do some work for them now. I've become part of their team as well, which is fantastic. So I do some work with them. But I did my NLP course, I did a coaching course, I did a business course, and I did a speaker's course. And I've actually, crewed at their events, and and the beautiful thing about their course is that they've got a lifetime reset. That means you can go back and do the courses for free as many times as you like.
Wow.
Which is wonderful. So I've done the NLP course 8 times. And I'm triple them now. And I've done the coaching course 3 times. I've done the business course twice, and I've done the speaker's course once. So and there's all this other stuff too. I've got coaching from them, etc. And I really needed that at that time for me, because I needed to grow. I needed to understand me deep down inside. Now, as time went on, though, when I was doing all these courses, I thought, wow, and especially with midlife women, and having, gone through what I went through, I was thinking to myself, if I'm a science teacher and I'm a biology teacher and I didn't know about everything to do with menopause, because, it's not out there. I mean, nobody speaks about it, What about all these other women that don't know about the body, or that's not their genius zone? What about them? So this was like a realization for me as time went on. It's like, if I can heal myself with all of this, maybe I can help other women as well. So that's when I decided to actually, I guess, niche my coaching, because I was doing coaching anyway, and I was coaching anybody and everybody to begin with, of course. And it was just another skill that I was learning, and it was great. And I even wrote a book called Ignite the Spark on relationships about 5 years ago, while I was still teaching. More than 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now. Oh my goodness. So I was thinking, maybe I can help other women. And that's why I niched into midlife coaching for women. And honestly, I thought to do some research around this, I'll get onto some of those menopause Facebook pages. Oh my God. There were like women going crazy on there. I fucking hate my husband. I wish my kids would leave me alone. And it's like, whoa, these women are angry. They're really over it. So yeah, I thought there are so many women out there that need help.
Yeah.
So that's where I've actually come from. So that's basically my coaching journey in a nutshell. Was it a nutshell? Was it short enough?
That was a nutshell.
That's why I'm here where I am now. At 61 years old, I'm helping women from anywhere from the age of 40, where they start to feel these changes, to whatever age. It doesn't just have to be while they're going through menopause. It can be at any time after that as well. And I just want to talk about the physiological thing that actually happens during midlife.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this, because I know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of other women will be interested as well. Well, so what happens at perimenopause, of course, is your body starts to shut down. Well, the ovaries start to shut down the production of progesterone, first of all, and that's when the no sleep starts to come in, because progesterone really does help with sleep. So progesterone starts to go down, and of course then followed by the estrogen. All right. So there might be times where women are really estrogen dominant because their ratio is out of kilt, for that stage of life. So, but after a while, the estrogen will also come down as well. And that's all very well, because what would normally happen in anybody that wasn't stressed, and we're all stressed these days, by the way, and I'll talk about that. For anybody that's not stressed, what happens is that the ovaries send signals to the adrenal glands, and saying, okay, I'm shutting down now, and the adrenal glands go, okay, I'll just pick up, the pace here for you a little bit. So when the adrenal glands are working properly, they're actually making estrogen and progesterone to keep you topped up so that you don't have the symptoms, those hideous symptoms of menopause. However, though, because of the modern woman, here we are, there's, working full-time jobs, usually took the lion's shares of the child rearing and the housekeeping and the shopping and all the other stuff that goes on, bill paying, whatever, taking on the lion's share. We are up here with stress. We are up here with either, we're either in flight, fright, or freeze mode continually. Mm-hmm. And if you look at, say, our grandmother's era, or even before that, in other indigenous cultures, for example, women don't have the problems with menopause that Western women have because they're not as stressed. They have their culture. And I'm not saying they don't have other stresses in their life, but it's different to the stresses that modern Western women have. And basically what happens is that our adrenal glands are so worn out because we are doing everything. We've got it all. Yeah, we've got it all right, but there's a cost. And it means our adrenal glands are so burnt out that they've got no resources to make any top-up estrogen and progesterone for women. So we are so depleted in those hormones, and that's what causes the hideous problems and the symptoms.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I know. And not only that, the adrenal glands use up vitamin C as well. And vitamin C is really important for topping up your immune system, and keeping you healthy. And, of course, adrenaline takes up a lot of vitamin C. So you're sort of depleted in that as well, unless you're actually taking supplements, good supplements or herbs. So that's what happens. And that's why Western women have such hideous symptoms that, say, maybe their grandmothers didn't have because they were stay-at-home mums and they didn't have the responsibility of working full-time. But, we have to work full-time in this, if you live in Sydney in particular, there's no way you can buy a house on a normal wage with one income. You've got to have at least two people working to buy a house in Sydney, which is where I live, by the way, just in case people are wondering, where I live. So yeah, and so that's it in a nutshell, really. That's basically what happens to your system during menopause. Now, there's something that's physiologically. There's something else that happens, though. There's something else that's really, really important that I mention here. Now, when we are growing up, say between the ages of 1 to 7, that's when we actually, we're learning. We take on everything as absolute truth into our unconscious minds. Absolutely everything that goes there, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the neutral. So there's a lot of good things. Your parents would have said to you when you were young, oh, you're beautiful, you're talented and all that. But they didn't always say that, did they? No. Sometimes they said things like, you stupid girl, oh, you're an idiot, oh, you're dumb, whatever, because they were frustrated too. They didn't know. They didn't know that they were, causing their child a lifetime.
It's a natural thing to do as a parent sometimes.
So there's a lot of negative stuff that we take on in our unconscious mind that we actually play out into the future. Now, what happens when a girl turns 12 or 13, of course, is that she gets her cycle, she gets a period, and of course then she's got that cycle and she's ruled by and programmed by those hormones from puberty to menopause. Any other wounds that you have from your child, they're put on hold in that time. You're programmed to want to have sex, to have boyfriends when you're at school and like the cutest boy in school, get married eventually, have kids, nurture those, nurture your children, nurture your husband, nurture your family. We're programmed to do that by those hormones. And that is why, one of the reasons why the human species has been so successful in dominating the world is that we've got this long period, and probably, with lots of adverse effects as well. We won't go there at the moment. So, we're programmed to sort of do all of this stuff, between puberty and menopause. When menopause hits and that programming starts to wear off, it's like the woman's like, hang on a moment, what am I doing? What am I doing? I don't want to cook dinner anymore. I wish my adult kids would just piss off and leave me alone and leave home. Or I wish that, I just wish I could just take off and do things and they wonder why they get angry and frustrated. It's perfectly normal, to feel like this. But a lot of women, they feel guilty, they feel shameful. Oh my God, I hate my husband, or I don't like my kids anymore. I just wish they'd leave me alone. And they get guilty. And a lot of them stuff those feelings down.
Yeah.
And they wonder why, they're not dealing with the issues from their childhood. Their issues from their childhood are starting to go, look, here I am, here I am, here I am, here I am. Poke, poke, poke. I need to be resolved now. These wounds are ready to be resolved. The programming's over. Poke, 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 poke. And a lot of women, they don't know what's happening to them. They just think, oh my God, okay, I'm feeling like crap here. I'm feeling frustrated. I just feel like I want to run away. Oh shit, I'm feeling guilty now because of this. Oh, I better not say anything because my husband will think I hate him. And I don't really. I just want some me time. I just want to have my life back. Or my life, full stop. So this is where I come in, because like 80% of success is mindset, right? And all those women that are going through that need is to get some mindset. We can actually help with the physical symptoms as well. No problems. There's easy ways to fix that. There's hormones, there's herbs, there's supplements, there's all sorts of ways to do that. I've got lots of experts around me that if I can't help them, that I can actually refer people to. So that's not a problem. We think it's just this bunch of symptoms that need to be fixed, but menopause is not. It is a whole mind-body revolution, where we have the opportunity, if we can see it and take it, to actually make our lives so much better, by taking our life to the next level. We know that it's a whole new stage in life, and we can actually take that and go, okay, it's me time now. What do I want? Not my husband, not society, not my kids, not my boss. What do I want? And this is an opportunity to go within to actually find that. And that's where I come in. That's where I help women. And that's where I coach women. And to actually, have a whole session of coaching around that and working on them. Because often women don't even know what they want.
That's true. It's very true.
It's just like, oh shit, what do I want? I've always been a mother, I've always been a wife, or I've always been, somebody's partner or somebody's daughter or somebody. But what about me? This is such a wonderful opportunity, once that hormonal programming wears off, to go within and find yourself. And I know that sounds really cliche, but bloody hell, it's true, so that then they can design their own life and whatever that looks like for them. Maybe it's, maybe it is, rekindling the relationship with their husband and going to the next level with that. And I can help with that as well. Maybe it is getting a divorce. Like a few of my clients, I've coached them through divorce. And it's been so much easier with me coaching them than them having to, go and do it by themselves. And that's been really successful. Also, women just wanting to take off for 6 months by themselves and travel around the world.
Yeah.
Or they might want to go and jump out of a plane as one of their bucket list items, but they could never have done it before because, oh my God, the money would have to go towards the kids' education or something else, So whatever it is that a woman wants, I can actually help her design that. And we go deep. We go really deep, and we dredge out who her true self is and what she wants. And we go from there. And so basically that's, again, not a nutshell, but that's it. That's what I do.
So you said so people 40 and up. Do you have any clients who might be slightly younger than that?
I personally haven't, but menopause can, it can hit women really early. It can hit them in their 30s as well. So, and the scary thing is that a lot of times women wouldn't know it was menopause, and you don't even know whether it's menopause. There was one woman, she was 32, and she thought she was going through early menopause, but it turned out that she had some thyroid problem. So I think that they treated the thyroid problem, and the menopause symptoms, I think went away. I didn't coach her though. She was just somebody that I knew of. Yeah. And so I don't know what the outcome with that was, but I guess if you're young and you're having menopause symptoms, yes, it could be early menopause, but I would suggest going to the doctor and ruling out everything else first, okay? Getting tests to make sure that your thyroid's working properly and that everything's, hunky-dory before finding out that it is menopause and then going, okay, what do I need to do now? Okay, so Yeah. Yes. So yes, I guess the simple answer to your question is yes, absolutely. It can happen before 40, but it's fairly rare.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask that question because I know of a few people who have been in, say, their mid-30s and they've had the symptoms, but they, you know, like you said, they haven't known what they are, but they've gone to the doctor and the doctor, meaning well, has maybe said to them, well, it can't be that because you're too young. In the end, they've actually ended up getting a blood test and their hormones have come back that shows that they are actually going through that.
Yeah,
A lot earlier than expected. So I just wanted to, you know, get maybe your perspective on that.
yeah. As I said, it definitely can happen.
Yeah.
I would, even if they've got the bloods of a menopausal woman, I would still be searching to see if there was something that's actually triggered that it's not really menopause, that something else has triggered it first before, you know, sort of saying, yes, it is menopause for sure. Yeah. Genetically or for whatever reason, their body's gone down that road.
And this might, you've kind of spoken about it, but this might seem like a silly question, but can, you know, stress, life stresses, bring it on earlier than would normally happen? I mean,
good question. I don't know about that, but I just know that stress makes it worse, makes the symptoms bad. So, you know, you might have had mild symptoms and been able to cope with it. If you didn't have a lot of, we've all got stress in our lives, but I'm talking about constant, you know, stress where we never come down from that stress. Okay. So yes, stress makes it a lot worse because of the fact that the estrogen and progesterone can't be made or can't be topped up when the ovaries start to shut down, that the adrenals just don't have the resources to make those hormones to help you. So yeah. But you know what? Look, I think that stress can bring on a multitude of things, and it would not surprise me if it would bring on early menopause as well. I don't know. I haven't done any reading around that, so I'm not sure. Be interesting. I'll go and find out now after this podcast. Go and see if stress can actually bring it on early, or if there's any evidence for that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm going to say that, you know, I have had a session with Gina only very recently, and I absolutely got so much out of it because, you know, I am your target market and I have been nodding my whole way. You know, if you haven't been watching me, hopefully you'll be watching Gina, but I have been nodding my way through this whole interview going, yep, I get it. Every time I hear you talk, Gina, I just go, yes, that's me. And thank goodness for someone like you who is out there, you know, sharing this really important message, because, you know, a lot of our listeners are actually under so much stress in their lives. And similar to what I said I went through, they're probably going through these things at the same time and they just don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, the modern Western woman has a lot of undue stress. And if you think about it, you know, like from in our days of old, our grandmother's days, or I guess go back to caveman days, right? Where I mean, early humans, you know, the old Cro-Magnon man, basically, and that era, which is like, you know, 100,000 years ago or something, living in caves or whatever, and you know, they would get stressed, of course, if, say, a saber-toothed tiger came along wanting to eat one of them, and they'd run away and they'd run up a tree or something like that. And that would actually give you an adrenaline burst. You need that because the adrenaline's there. It sort of stretches out your muscles. It gives you the energy you need. It releases energy from your muscles to be able to get away as quickly as you can. That's the whole purpose of adrenaline. But, you know, in those days, the saber-toothed tiger would go and find something else to eat and walk away, and then the human would come down from the tree, and then, of course, their whole system would settle down. And then they'd be back to normal. There would be no stress or very little stress, right? Except for the normal, average, everyday stress of having to find food, etc. You know, and if it was living in Africa, it would have been fine. Lots of food. But these days, we don't live like that. We live up here all the time. No, we've got saber-toothed tigers. Our unconscious mind thinks that we're being chased by saber-toothed tigers all bloody day.
Yes.
So that's where a lot of Western women are at the moment. And that's why we need coaching. We need strategies to actually, you know, to calm us down. We need to change our freaking life, basically, especially at midlife, you've got the opportunity to. to actually deal with all this stuff, because you can't live a really happy, purposeful life into old age if you're always stressed, you know? So you would die. You would die of hypertension or cancer or something else that stress would bring on. You can't.
Yes, that's true.
It's so important that we actually get this stress under control. And coaching is a very, very big part of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it can build and build, can't it? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you're saying, that we're all up here. I think maybe within the last couple of months, we've all gone up here a little bit more.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Exactly. You know, like it's at the moment, I know that people listening to this podcast, it might be away in the future, but at the moment we're in the midst of COVID-19. And it's like a lifetime. Nothing's ever happened like this in my lifetime or even my parents' lifetime, you know. And they were born before World War II, so they were children during World War II. But, you know, in their adult lives, nothing. In my life and my nieces and nephews' lives and that, nothing. This is incredible what we're going through now. And what I'm noticing is that, you know, there's a lot of stress. The stress levels are here normally, and that's high enough, and they're now up here for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's right up here. So and that's why I actually developed this little tool that this is my giveaway today. I know that we're probably leading into that.
Awesome. Perfect timing.
I actually created, based on a lot of principles through matrix therapies, timeline therapy and all that, I've made this beautiful, beautiful process. It's like a little audio downloadable thing that goes for about 15 minutes. And it's called an anxiety and stress buster. So you can upload it. I think the link is going to be below or somewhere where you could actually download it and just take it and use it and share it with your family and friends as well. It is absolutely beautiful. I've created it. It's helped me. I've actually done it on a couple of other people. I've given it to a couple of other people. I've got feedback that it's really worked for them and it's really helped. Like, oh, wow, you know. So, and it's not just for COVID-19, or this particular one is. However, you can use it at any time for any stress. You know, even after COVID-19 finishes in, you know, the years to come, months, hopefully only weeks to come.
Hopefully weeks
to come, that, you know, you can use this anytime, any day you get stressed, you come home from work, you're feeling stressed, you can lie down, do this process, and you'll feel so much better for it. So people that are seeing this rather than listening to this, they can see that there's this anxiety and stress buster. So I've just got here, I'm going to read it out for the people that can't see this. Are you feeling anxious and stressed? I think for a lot of us, especially right now, we can say yes. Alleviate anxiety and stress, and just relax and learn to believe that everything is going to be okay. Use this simple, free, 15-minute audio tool, the Anxiety and Stress Buster. I can't wait to share this with you because it really, really works. Okay, I'm reading my other screen here, by the way, if you're wondering where my face is going. And it's valued at $97, but grab it before it disappears. And there's the link for it there. So just to read out what the link is, just in case, you know, they can't see it so easily on the page there or whatever. It's midlifecoachingforwomen.com.au/free crisis anxiety /. So that's the link there. Go and download it and just enjoy it. Have fun with it. And I know it will help you. It certainly helped me.
That is perfect, Gina. And I have to say, even as you were just reading that out, I felt myself, you know, alleviate anxiety and stress and just relax. I went, okay, sure, I will do exactly that. That's a very good start. So we will absolutely make sure that that link is available below this podcast because, and I love that, you know, you've called it free crisis anxiety because, you know, the majority of the listeners of this podcast are going through or have been through, whether it's COVID-19 or whether it's something else in their life, they've been through some sort of crisis and therefore suffering anxiety. So perfect tool for anyone who would like to go and download this tool for free. And I can't wait to go and listen to it myself because, you know, I'm in COVID-19 too. So.
But as I said, even if you know, when COVID-19 is over, this is still a really great tool to use.
Exactly. It's a perfect tool.
But I know that we all need this right now. right now. So download it right now.
So thank you. Oh, Gina, that's just been incredible. I have to say I've gotten to know Gina a little bit since the start of the year, and I think you are just an amazing person with what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping the people, like me, who I haven't understood what I have been going through until getting to know you. And like I say, I've been nodding my whole way through it. And I will say, especially the part with the children, I've got 2 adult children myself, and I have been through that stage of just get out of my house.
Yeah.
I love you, but just get out of my house. Now they're married and living in their own house, which is great, and I love them and I'm proud of them, but it just, when you said that to me, it was like, oh, thank God.
I'm normal. I'm normal after all.
So thank you so much, Gina, for sharing your extensive knowledge today, and we'll make sure that link is available.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Ali. I really appreciate it. And I just want to actually help as many women as I can. That's my purpose and mission in life, basically, is to do this work to help women and empower women. I mean, this is my utopia. This is my big picture goal, is basically to see women be so empowered that we actually do have 50% of at least 50% of the executive jobs, of the high level top jobs, and that we are doing, 50% of all of that, whether it be government or whether it be business or whether it be anything really, non-profits, anything. Women basically need to be there. And this is my utopian view. And I've always said this, and I know that it might sort of rub people the wrong way, but I just think that if women ran the world, and I love men. I've got a lovely husband. I love men. Don't get me wrong. I love my brothers. I have lots of men friends, all that. But if women ran the world, I really believe in my heart of hearts that there would be no war. I just picture this thing, along the Gaza Strip there, they got the Israelis and they've got the Palestinians. I reckon instead of fighting each other, they would be looking after each other's children while they went to work and things like that. Yeah. I just don't. It's not. Women are nurturers, and especially between puberty and menopause, we certainly are. They're nurturers, and they want to protect and help people. They don't want to blow them up, which is I think is the patriarchal man's world. There might be a bit of controversy about me saying that, but that's what I believe, and yeah. So.
Well, I don't disagree with you there, and I don't think that's necessarily kind of putting men down. They're just different to women.
They are different.
Like I say, we are naturally the nurturers.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's really important that we have the balance. 50% men of women in all positions throughout life. That would be perfect. That would be the utopia.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be the perfect one? Totally agree with you. Well, thank you again, Gina. It's been awesome to have you on today.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you very much. And again, thanks for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Okay. Bye.
Bye.